Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, Tollway Troubles. The Illinois State Toll Highway Authority is at a crossroads. Its finances are crumbling as fast as its highways. The agency is scrambling to find money for a multi-billion-dollar reconstruction of the Northwest Tollway. And there may be no other way to get that funding without raising tolls for passenger cars. Earlier, I talked with reporter Jim Wiesel about the agency, which is not only lacking in funding, but also in credibility left over from the Blagojevich administration. So Jim, first things first, I-90 is in desperate need of repair. How does the tollway pay for it?
Well, that's something they're kind of grappling with right now. The repairs range from anything from kind of patching it up one more time to, really doing what they want to do, which is tear it up and start over and rebuild it, and that could be as much as $3 or $4 billion, and they don't have the funds to pay for that. They're going to have to raise revenues one way or the other.
The tollway gets no state subsidy, unlike other government agencies. They have to use their own revenues or bond sales in order to make these repairs. So what are their options right now?
I think they have three options. They could raise tolls, I think there's room to do that. They could go into the bond market and sell bonds and borrow more money. Perhaps more likely they could do both. Borrow a little money in the bond market and then raise tolls to help make those bond payments.
Their bond payments have ballooned in the last few years, right? They sold a lot of bonds a few years ago. Can they take on more debt?
They can't unless they find more revenue. And, their bond payments are where they knew they would be. The tollway, a few years ago started a very ambitious project, open road tolling. That was a $6.3 billion project, and they sold about $3.5 billion of bonds to pay for that and raise tolls on commercial vehicles to pay the rest. That's worked out pretty well, but now here we are faced with more repairs and more projects down the line and not the money to pay for them.
Well, it's not only a lack of money at this agency, it's also a lack of credibility, as you write about, this kind of hangover from the Blagojevich era and this pay-for-play fundraising machine. What is the agency doing right now to dispel that notion with the public?
There's a new chairman, Paula Wolf, who has an excellent reputation. A new executive director just starting. They've got some new board members. They hired a new director of investigations to sort of root out anything that might be left from that Blagojevich hangover. I think they're doing a lot of the right things. Even their critics think they're doing a lot of the right things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that when they go to the public and say, we need more money, people won't say, aren't you the agency that has been involved in scandals in the past?
So bottom line, do you think there's going to be a toll hike for the people who use the I-Pass? When do you think it might happen, and how much do you think it might be?
I think they have to raise tolls in order to fund some of these projects, and I think some of them are just going to have to wait.
And do you think that there are pressing needs enough with these repairs that we could see that, this year?
I'm doubtful that they'll take that action this year, but I think by the end of the summer and maybe the fall, they will have gone through all these projects and they'll have a handle on what they need to do. And then we might see some discussion of how do we get the revenue to actually pay for it.
Okay, Jim, thanks for joining us. It was a really good read.
Thanks a lot for having me.
And that's all for this edition of Chicago Business Today. You can read Jim's story in this week's edition of Crain's or on chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.